I'd like to do a disclaimer that I have no clue what we're about to do.
Yes, you do.
I have no clue what we're about to do.
Yes, we're going to talk about lenses today. That's what we get asked about more so. Well, not more so than audio. I'd say it's probably second to audio.
Talking about lenses. Let's do it.
Got that vibe, yeah, I ain't petty. Looking fly, yeah, they ain't ready.
What was the first lens we bought? Do you remember?
I don't know.
It was the 35. It was the 35 because it
on
came...
Sony, we started off in...
Yes, it was the 35 and it came with the A7S II that we bought.
35 millimeter, 2.8. Banger.
So what have we used this lens on?
Gimbal
for a long time. This was our gimbal lens. Also, this is like our travel lens. I feel like all of our travel films have been on this camera. It's small and compact and fits in our bags.
Now that it's on the A7 III, I can go handheld with it. Like I'll do like groom prep stuff with this as well, handheld. So there's that.
But like other than that,
I don't think there's anything else.
No, I feel like it's a really clean lens. Like I even think back to Edinburgh and the adventure session that you did with Amy and Steve, and like one of my favorite shots ever that you did with this very setup is like the wraparound shot of them at Edinburgh Castle, and that was on this lens on an A7S II handheld. So I always think back to that and I'm like, man, I just think it's a great setup, and it's really not that expensive of a lens for what it can do for you.
Yeah, for sure.
What's next?
The next lens that we got was, I think, the 90 macro.
That's my baby.
This is Elaine's baby. And it's actually been dropped once before, and we had to send it off for repair.
I still love you, Wilson.
While this was out for repair, we tried every single 85. We tried 135s. We've tried every single lens
I
in
should
this.
talk about this because really this is like my setup. To Caleb's point, we tried every lens. We tried the Canon L Series 85, which was beautiful, but I don't think it was stabilized. There was something with it that was like really frustrating for me. I tried the Zeiss Bodice
85.
The Bodice 85, and I had an issue with the color shift. I felt like it kind of pushed towards like a green blue. If there's anything I really don't like about the Sonys, it's the color, and Sony already has kind of like that blue-green color cast. So to have on top of that a lens, even though it was like a bad lens, bad isn't good. Even though it was a dope lens, like the color shift just kind of drove me crazy, especially in comparing it to the G Master 90 macro. But what I love about this lens is it has like this autofocus pop in out, so you can pop into auto or manual. So a lot of times during bride prep, or if I'm trying to get a detail shot, I'm actually handheld, and that auto manual pop in and out really comes in handy. Like if it's something way above my head and I can't really check focus, I can kind of pop it into manual, get the shot, and then come back to autofocus and, do whatever else that I'm doing.
And what body do you use now?
I use the A7 III. I couldn't do this handheld on the A7 II. I'd like to think I have steady hands.
Elaine's nickname at KEJ is Shakes.
I don't have steady hands.
There's not enough stabilization in the world for Elaine's shaky hands. Moving on. We use this guy a lot. This is the 24-105. This is one of our first lenses, and I actually use this setup. It has this calm light adapter for Sony. And I bought this from Seth Dunlap.
Yeah, we still use it.
And we still use it.
That was like, I feel like it was 5 years ago. It was one of our first lens purchases, actually.
And so I used to use the A7, the original A7S with this calm light adapter and this 24-105. And that junk it wasn't as heavy as our newer setups. It's just this lens is really heavy. So I used it on the Ronin M. Got it balanced at 50 millimeters with that setup, and it was like a pretty good setup. And I used to do everything in manual focus because you had to do that. And it's just always been a good lens. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
You should talk about because there's something really unique that this lens does.
That nobody else will have.
Yeah.
Because inside of it has like this reflection that happens. And what I ended up doing, and I read on some forums or something like that, is to get some Velcro, the hook side? No, the loop side.
The loop
The
side.
loop side, which is the fuzzy side, and I put it inside the comm light. And so whenever the light hits it, you start to see some of the reflections hit inside the Velcro and then into the sensor, and it just creates very unique flares. Okay, moving on.
You should talk about the camera that's on the lens.
Oh.
The lens that's on the camera.
All shakes, does it again. What we're using to film this right now is the Sony 24-70 G Master, and it's 2.8, and it's a banger.
It's a beast.
An amazing look, flexibility. Goes handheld very well with the A7 III. It's probably the best lens we have.
More than the 90?
I don't know. Wait. This, if we had to go out and we only had 2 bodies and 2 lenses, 24-70 G Master, 90 macro G Master, and 2 A7 IIIs.
I'd agree with that. Talk about the 24-70.
Oh, I did talk about the 24-70. It's the best lens out there right now.
Well, what specifically do you love about it?
Let me tell you what I don't love about it.
That might be easier.
So with the A7 III and the diameter of the lens sits proud of the actual camera. So whenever I'm mounting it to, let's say the Ronin S, I have to use a riser on the body for it to match where the lens sits. That is the only thing I don't like about that lens, or
And the
that
weight.
setup. I can
think
deal
when
with the weight.
your hand, I don't deal. It's a heavy rig. I do recommend it. I think we do highly recommend it because it's just gorgeous, especially if you can get kind of like that parallaxing. You get amazing stuff like that on this lens, but it just takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of strength, and so I know I can't man it for a long time. Like Caleb and I switch off quite often, especially during reception. Like if he's gimbaling the first dance, like I know what the look looks like. He kind of just gives me this look like I'm done, and I'm like, okay, I'll take it for a dad's dance or whatever. And then I last like I get like
2
halfway
seconds.
through it, I'm like, and you start seeing me like rest the gimbal, and then like I get up and do another sweeping shot. But it is just heavy, so I do want.
It's heavy, but what you are previewing, like we use the small HD focuses. When you preview stuff, you're like, holy crap, this is amazing, and it like mentally reinvigorates your strength to be able to do shots. Because I think about Lindsay and Matthew. Oh man. That was the first time we ever used that lens on the gimbal, and I was like, this is it. We're buying this. I don't care how much it is.
Yeah, it's an investment. So we always encourage, especially if you're starting out in the field, to please rent your gear. I think we rented this lens twice.
For us, and what we tell people all the time is just buy used, don't buy new.
Yeah.
So what's next? We have the 70-200 G Master. This is the F4. This is the original version. This thing is amazing. The zoom is, I forget what the term is, but it's internal. It's not like this guy where you know it zooms out on its own. I forget what that it's called. If you need to know what that is, just
drop it in the comments.
Just go to Matt Johnson. I'm sure he'll tell you. It's an amazing lens. It looks really beautiful. Oh, and I didn't say that about the 70 or the 24-70. The color of that lens is
neutral.
Beautiful.
Same thing even with the 90 macro. Any of the G Master lenses, like the color is just neutral, consistent. There's no like weird shift in them, which is why the pairing of these 3 lenses, the 90 macro, the 70-2 and the 24-105 is just like, I know when we get into post, I'm not going to be doing anything weird to shift color.
Yeah, we use it in autofocus a lot, and it has optical stabilizer, so it's a really nice lens. We use it during ceremonies and receptions a lot to get cutaways. And
we're going to be using it a lot
first
more
dances.
with the Rona running around. I'm not trying to be up on folks, so
we'll be shooting long.
We're going to be shooting real long.
And you get that good compression of the barrel, like even at f4, you can get some. Even at f4, it just looks really, really great. Can't say enough about this lens. It's saved us a lot.
I feel like a lot of filmmakers kind of obsess over only having lenses that are like under 2.0 or, you know, whereas all of our lenses are like 2.8 and above, and our zoom lenses are both 4.0 aperture.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like your aperture is only as good as like your ND filters, which that's something that we don't have out, but We use the Tiffin ND filters for all of our glass, and I use step down rings to accommodate. It's really nice. They're expensive, but man, they're
again
clean.
The color shift.
Yeah.
Like we're really trying to avoid that. I mean, there are some other ND filters though that are really great. Like Polar Pro, I know makes some good ones. You use that on your drone.
SLR Magic has a really nice like how it's a variable, but we stick with Tiffin.
So this is pretty much our kit. We should go through like our
this is the one.
lens.
Elaine doesn't talk about this one a lot.
I was gonna go there.
This is our SLR Magic. We have a 50 millimeter and we have a 75 as well, but these are a 1.1 aperture, which is just stupid. Like it's ridiculous. We call this our creative lens. We use it a lot for party.
And portrait, if there's
portrait.
something specific we're going for.
Yeah.
But another, again, talking about color shift, it just has like this vintagey, very creamy look. It's warm, I would call it, which actually looks gorgeous on the Sonys, but again, it doesn't match kind of what we have going on with the G Master lenses. So when we do switch to footage where we've used this lens, there is like this internal clock where it's like, okay, we have to go and look at all that footage and balance it to everything.
And it has to be specific, but we typically just use this for party because you get some really gnarly like lens flares and really cool stuff out of this lens in particular.
I'm thinking specifically about Rita and Joey. Like I loved their party so much just because it was live, and that was this lens. All the tight shots were on this lens, which were likely handheld, and then all the gimbal shots were, I think that was the 35 at that time.
Probably.
Yeah.
This is a full manual lens. So you have to do everything
ND is
manual,
on it.
and the ND is on it, which is really cool. This is the one that I was talking about. It's just a really nice feel to it, I guess, compared to, and it has hard stops as opposed to a lot of ND filters. It goes all the way around. So this has a hard stop on either side of it. So great lens, and it's cheap. That junk is cheap. So SLR Magic 50, do it, try it.
We do the 35 on the reception a lot too.
And we do the 24-70 on the reception.
Heck yeah. As of late, that thing.
Because you push that out to 70 and you get that barrel distortion, and it just looks.
I think that's it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Or if you have any comments, drop them in the comments. We love dialogue like this. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time, yeah?
Peace.
Bye.